Hi there, welcome to the final video update for the month of November. When we return to work on Monday, it's going to be December. We'll have just 3 short weeks before we head into the holiday break, which should give us a chance to get the batteries recharged and be ready to rock and roll in 2019. The first thing I want to talk about really ties directly into that, and that's as we come back and go into these final 3 weeks, I want to make sure that we really emphasize patience. This is the time of year when we're probably at that point where, that last nerve is about to get stepped on, and whether that's our coworker or a child that we're working with, we just really need to make sure we exercise patience, take some deep breaths, and remember what it is that we do and why we do it. Especially when we're talking about children. Some of those kids who have put us at the point where maybe we're on our last nerve, those are the ones who really need the most love, the most patience. Oftentimes, this is the place where they feel safe. We don't know necessarily what their home life is like, whether that's positive, negative, whatever the case may be. But this may be a place where they actually feel safe acting out their frustrations. So I'm not saying behaviors are okay. I'm not saying that those are the things that we want to see, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I do want to make sure that we really focus on really loving those kids and being patient with those kids and doing everything we can to make sure that they continue to have a positive experience while they're here. Another thing that I want to touch base on, and that's something that has come to my attention a few times here in the last week or so, and I'm not exactly sure how to say this, and I'm sure this may come out negative, and I don't intend that by any stretch of the imagination. But when we're working in the classroom with an EL student, or we're working with a special education student, we have to remember there are students. Special education is a really easy example to use here in that perhaps I have a special education student in my class who might be on Kim's caseload or Marvine's caseload or Tara or Misty, but that doesn't mean that they're not my student. They're my student. Yes, they also happen to be Misty's student or Tara's student, whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is they're still my student, and I have a responsibility, the same as I do with every other student in my classroom, all day long, every single day, to do my very best to educate those kids and give them the opportunities that they need to be successful. When we tell a kid, or we take a kid to a special ed teacher and say, you need to deal with them, what we're telling that kid unintentionally or indirectly is you are separate from my other students, and we cannot do that. That's just something we can't do. That ties back into the frustration piece. I know sometimes that there are kids who are a little bit more difficult to work with, but those are the ones we just got to dig even deeper and be even more patient with. Having a special education teacher or working with the EL para, that's not a punishment, and it never should be viewed that way. And we never should say, I'm frustrated with this kid, I'm sending him to the SPED teacher or whatever. We just need to make sure we don't do that. We also shouldn't say, this is a special education student and we've done everything we can, so we're just going to let them watch YouTube videos, or we're going to let them work on whatever they want to work on. We got to dig deep. We really, really do. If you need some help with some strategies, reach out to me, because I will absolutely come and help you. I'll do everything in my power to help you, because every single student that crosses the threshold at West Grand deserves the same opportunities, and they deserve to be treated the exact same way. So I know that sounds like I'm on a soapbox, and I apologize for that, but we've got to make sure that we continue to not lose sight of that every kid is a human being, every kid has value, and every kid deserves everything that we have and that we can give them. So again, I know that's a soapbox, and I apologize, but it's just too important. So okay, let me shift gears a little bit. Next Friday, December 7th, we'll have a professional development day. I will tell you that I'm going to mention calendar committee in a minute, but I will tell you that epic fail on my part. This is a day I'm so super excited about. Laura and her team have really worked hard to put together a celebration around project-based learning, and I will be at the CASB conference with members of the school board in Colorado Springs, and I won't be able to be here, and I'm really frustrated. I'm going to shoot a separate video sometime next week to maybe talk a little bit at the introduction of that, but I really wish that I could be here and be a part of it. That's going to be really exciting. I think there's some really great learning opportunities. I'm excited with some of the really cool things that are happening in our classrooms. But I will tell you, I had a great conversation today with a teacher at the high school, and actually several great conversations with teachers at the high school today. But one of the things that we talked about was project-based learning, and I don't want there to be a misconstrued idea out there. I don't even know if that's really a phrase. I apologize if that's wrong. It's Thursday afternoon. I'm ready for the weekend. I don't want there to be this misunderstanding that I think project-based learning is the only thing we should be doing. That is absolutely incorrect. Project-based learning is an amazing tool to put in your toolbox, and we do want everybody doing this because we want you to experience what it's like so that you can understand where the most likely and best place to apply that tool is. But project-based learning is not your curriculum. You have very important curriculum that you're going to be working around, those standards, the curricular resources, all of those different pieces come together. So I just want to make sure that people are clear on that. With that said, there are some amazing successes that are happening right now in project-based learning. I just filmed the We Are West Grand talk show for this week with Sheldon Brenneman a couple minutes ago. Make sure you check out that video. Sheldon talks about a project that she just completed with some of her students around solar cycles. But man, they did some amazing things with that. Let's continue to see those successes. I know December 7th there's going to be some really cool opportunities to celebrate successes at all different grade levels. So just continue to plug along. I got to tell you, I'm really proud of what's happening here in West Grand. I'm super excited when I hear some of the things that kids talk about. Yesterday I got to be in a third grade classroom to be a part of their initial interviews with their travel agency, which is a project-based unit around how they're learning the regions and states in the United States. Just some really cool things that are happening. Like I said, some great conversations that I had at the high school today involving not just project-based learning, but some other elements as well. So just continue to work hard, and I'm super excited for next Friday. I just really wish I could be here and actually see it and experience it firsthand, but I'm looking forward to hearing all about it. Trivia. So our trivia question last week, shifting gears, was where is it in the state of Colorado that it's illegal to throw snowballs at someone? And the answer is Aspen. And kudos to Amanda Evans, who was the first one to come in with the answer. And with Amanda being in the classroom, I gave her a copy of the PBL playbook. So for classroom teachers, this is an option for you if you happen to get the trivia question correct. We also have some other prizes that we're pulling together. Because I want everybody to participate. And the idea behind having a trivia question is I know you have to watch the video in order to get the trivia questions. So I won't necessarily do a video every single week going forward, maybe every other week. But I just want to make sure that the important information that we have is getting out there. Now I want to jump on the calendar committee before I ask you the trivia question, because I want to make sure you hear about calendar committee. Early next week, hopefully next week, I will get out the invitations for the calendar committee as we go forward to building the calendar for the 2019-2020 school year. That process will begin in earnest in January, and there will be several different meetings and several different drafts of the calendar. It's actually as exciting as calendar work can be. It is really fun work, and we had a great time with the group last year. But ultimately, the calendar recommendations will go to the board in March. So it'll be kind of a frenzied little 2-month period of time there as we're working on calendar. But be looking for that email if you're interested in being part of the calendar committee. Let me know. If you were on calendar committee last year, I'd love to have you back because I won't have to reteach the process. But certainly if you're new or just didn't necessarily think about being on calendar committee last year and you'd like to do that, please let me know once I send out that invitation email next week. Okay, now for the trivia question. And the Colorado trivia questions, I get like hundreds of answers. Well, that's maybe an exaggeration. I get tens of answers almost immediately. So I'm going to go a little bit different direction here with trivia today. And I'm going to go right to the decade that I really truly grew up in, which is the 1980s. And we're going to go with a little bit of 80s trivia for you here. So be the first person to come in with the answer and you'll win a prize. The 80s trivia question is this. Name the pop band that had to give their Grammy Award back during the 1980s. And tell me why they had to give back their Grammy. This is a good one. I'm excited to see who can come up with this one. It's not a hard question if you grew up in the 80s. A lot of you grew up a lot later in the 80s, so it might not be one that you get right away, but it's just something a little bit different this time. So with that, I'll sign off for the month of November. We'll see you in December. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Be out there, be safe, enjoy Colorado, and we'll see you next week.